Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to GLL. This, of course, is the last chance qualifier and it's grand finals weekend. My name is Sims, and now I've got rid of the man with the most sexual voice in esports and swapped him with the Polish powerhouse that is Lothar. Dude, pleasure to be on desk with you.
Yeah, this is the first time, right?
First time ever. It's the first time for everything.
I'm gonna remember that.
This is
my life.
the most gorgeous jacket I have ever seen.
Thank you.
Ever. I could not pull that off. So I'm going to say, well played. It's incredible.
I used it for a while now.
I'm a fan.
Thank you very much.
So you've obviously been doing this for 4 weeks now.
Actually 3, because I missed it last week, and I was super sad about it. I enjoy casting PUBG for a while. It's actually an amazing game, because it's so tactical. When you compare it to other games, other FPS games, right? You like kind of focus on the skill of the players, mostly, right? But in PUBG, the most important aspect is the big picture.
Rotations. It's insane, isn't it? When you watch that map and you see like people's train of thought of, okay, let's either try and predict where we're going to take an engagement next. Let's predict where we can force people into an engagement next if we need to do it, or let's try and predict where the circle's going to move. Just kind of the people's train of thought and thought process, and watching them. And even looking back to IEM, you could see some of the people when they were going into it, and you listen to how they talk to one another. Like sometimes I just kind of sit behind the players and have a listen to the communication stuff. And you'd have a team leader, but sometimes people would obviously, and it's good to question, should we do this, should we do that? And then you have the one person that has to make that choice, and they put all the person's faith, and everything kind of comes together, and this is what makes this game so fun to watch. And as you said, you've described it, there's a bigger picture. It's not just people shooting each other in the face and killing one another. It's the ideas and the mentality of where to go. I mean, I'll kind of throw this back to you then in that aspect. How's your preference of play? Do you like to try and get stuck in a little bit, or are you all about map movement?
I'm all about map movement. I mean, in a competitive setting, it's all about map movement, I think, at least. And by the way, because of the way the production is set up today, you can also watch the map on a separate screen. Because Twitch.tv Global Loot League 2 has a stream only of the minimap. I mean, it's not a minimap anymore. It's a big map with everyone on it. And that's amazing, because then you can analyze how the players are moving. So go there, watch it on your phone or your iPad, or have it on a second laptop or something, but have it on while we'll be casting the game. But when it comes to your question, I think it's more about the movement, more about like forcing yourself, your team, to make a correct decision when it comes to just positioning, because that's something that wins the game. Skill obviously is important, but in the end, in my opinion, on the highest level of competition, the team that has better leadership will win, not the one that has just better shooters.
And on the opposing side of that, bad map movement gets punished rather hard in this. We've seen it time and time again. I'm sure it's nothing we'll continue seeing. Speaking of the previous game, let's kind of halt on that one and take a look back and remind ourselves. And again, if you are just joining us, we are moving into lobby number 2. Let's take a look and see how the total points are from lobby number 1. Azamat Gaming all the way at the top there with 234 points. Apex Esports 198. Space Station 175. Gale Force 166. And then in 5th place we see Blank with 115. Finally at 6, only C9. That's the only 6 teams making it across the triple digits. Everyone else below them. Dig, unfortunately, they fall victim as well. Do GA Esports 0 points whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's not great, but
we have 5 games.
This is what's so good, because there's 5 games. If you do have a bad game, you've got enough to kind of make it up and even it out, and that's why having so many like tomorrow will be incredible to see who's like across 7 games back to back to back to back to back, of like to see who's kind of the most, you know, consistently at the top, which is kind of what AAA did. You know, when we look back to IEM, we didn't necessarily see them always, you know, first place, just completely going off every single time. But they were always hovering around that top area. They were always consistently saying, okay, we'll keep surviving, we'll get into the top 5, then we'll try and take us fights. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we know what we've done. It's time to stamp this thing and finish it off. And that's kind of what we're looking for tonight and tomorrow, to see who is the most consistent team. It's doable.
Yeah, definitely doable. And what it also making GLL different from other tournaments is the fact that there's an exponential rise in points for kills. This is why, an example, Space Station Gaming that you have seen on the 3rd place after game 1 was so high, because they finished 8th.
Yeah.
But because they had 8 kills as a team, they got bumped like 5 places up, and that's important because you have like this additional set of informations that if you reach a certain threshold, your kills are ranking more and more points.
Yeah.
And that can be an important tactical decision to go, an example, into a risky fight because you know that an additional 1 kill nets you so many more points, right? So it's a different game.
And there are some teams that kind of live off that, and one team that instantly, I think that springs to my mind is C9.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I look at C9, I think that's a very aggressive North American roster that if it thinks, okay, we need to do something here in order to bump ourselves up, let's go for this team. They're kind of the roster that will just say, let's get aggressive. You know, Chappie and Solid, they're going to say, let's get a car, let's get stuck in, let's get some kills. And that's kind of what this point system will reward you. Don't get me wrong. If you take a fight and you get battered, you're going to get punished for it. There's the opposite end and there's the opposite case. But the point system does allow a team, if they say, okay, we need to really bump ourselves up here, let's go take a couple of fights, let's go get some more points, you can do that. I want to see C9 do that. Anyone can do that. Any of these teams can get stuck in. There's a lot on the line tonight. We can only take 4 places across to tomorrow's best of 7 grand final. And there's some really, really solid teams. All right, we just saw 2 teams get 0 points. That means nothing. In the grand scheme of it, this is still a best of 5. They could win 3 games back to back to back for all we know. Anything can happen, so it's full focus, head down. Hopefully we get a bit of a better... Now you're on the desk. Maybe you bring some good luck with it. We get a bit of a better circle.
If that's the only thing I'm bringing to the table, then it's kind of sad.
No, you'll bring a lot more. I believe. This jacket is good luck. I do believe. But the plane has left the tarmac, and we are kicking things off. We are coming in directly from the west, just above Primorsk. Not too much of a different circle in comparison to last time. It's a little bit higher up, but not a lot. However... look at all those flyers. A lot of people heading straight into Georgia Paul. More than likely, we'll see people go to the north as well as the south also. Hospitals are in play. Pachinki's in play if we see some teams want to duck and dive and get down early. A couple of people diving out towards farm. Maybe get a vehicle, potentially chase up to Yaznaya. We do see one team heading all the way down south. Potentially, it might be the only team. If the other one just to the right-hand side opt to go for... nope, they're going Novo. So we will have 2 teams on Sosnovka.
You'll have a slight, battle, let's say, on the island if it will not end up with a circle on it. But what I wanted to point out is that in today's tournament, we have so many different teams from what we have seen in the previous weeks of GLL, and that means all the movement on the initial drop might be affected by that. An example: NIP is a team that always jumps 1 guy at school, 2 guys at apartments, and 1 guy goes for a bike or a vehicle somewhere around that area. But is it affected if the teams that are playing against are not the same teams that are scrimming against, that they don't know their movement, right?
That's a good call. And literally you can see if... like you were telling the story, they're exactly doing that. Apartments, school, and you can see X is just wandering off, potentially even Swear, to go and try and find these vehicles. You've read it like a textbook. That's exactly what they're doing. They're sticking to the guns, and they're going for it. Meanwhile, look at George. We've got Dig with boots on the ground. We've already got bullets flying as well. I can see a couple of bullets being shot off by EG. They were having some early engagements with Dig, trying to get an early kill, but it didn't go through. Again, I think, excuse me, this is completely wrong. This is Pachinki. So Dig are all the way up in Georgia Paul. EG are actually boots on the ground down in Pachinki, but we do have another team in here with them. So they're kind of hunting around. No armor on whatsoever, but goalie wants to get stuck in. Fair play. He's got an M16, but when you've got no helmet and you've got no chest, you take a bullet, it's going to hurt, man.
Yep. Every single gun will be lethal for you. Even a pistol, just 1 shot to the head and then 1 shot to your body, and it's gone. You're gone. And with, Pochinki being so open between the buildings, which is different from the new map, Miramar, you don't have that much cover, right, in those situations. So it's a risk management, and the game is about that. If you have enough resources, they want to risk it. If I have enough resources, most likely yes. If I don't, well, then it's a risky situation. Right?
It's nice to at least put a few bullets down and say, okay, we can force them off us. We can use scare tactics and push them deeper into Pachinki. So we have, give us a bit more breathing space in Pachinki. And that's kind of what's going on there. Those teams, they'll probably end up coming together rather soon. So we'll keep an eye on it. But we'll show you guys the circle. My oh my, she's giving Georgia Paul a run for their money. TSM would be extremely happy. Look at one player just kind of running off on his own. We'll see a couple of long drivers. They may potentially not know what's going on there because there's 5 people up in the north. There's 5 people down in the south. We got Hospital as well, so Georgia Bot's a little bit messy.
Yeah, we see Envious and Tempo Storm next to each other. Maluka is alone in a small compound next to Envious. So he's separated from the rest of the team. And where's the rest of the team?
Have they gone full west?
Here we go south. They went to the west side,
yeah.
west side apartments, complexes that have really good loot. But now they're separated, and then Envy will read that. They can just push Maluk and, take advantage of that.
It'll be interesting to see if Dig do the same to Check Shooter. Check Shooter is just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on in George. Ooh. Meanwhile, at the top, we will see Brooksy. He knocks out Master, and he also finishes him as well with a 16. Sees the lone soldier and says, okay, free kill for me. Thank you very much. Turn up late game. I'll take that kill. Drives a 16 bullet, 5.56 through his brain, and he will fall. School is now just out of the circle, so that means that NIP look to see them rotating rather soon. Will they go extremely far? Will they just stay on the edge of the circle? Rozok is empty. Meanwhile, Watts will fall. The first victim of Pajinki is dead. Excuse me, he's not dead. He's actually knocked down. Pardon my words there. Ghoul's actually going to be able to get him back up by the looks of it. The lean comes in from times. He does have a helmet, so at least he can peek. Doesn't have a chest, so he'll be taking 100% damage if he gets bodied. Nomi, keeping eyes on the garage, getting some height and some ground on there to see exactly what's going down. But Red does have a 2 times, so you can probably get stuck in here. Let's go to the split POV and see how this one plays out.
I find it quite interesting that they actually decided to take the duels in Pochinki. It's such a big city. It's maybe not that big as Yasnaya, an example, but you can take that space and, just make a split. We take this side, you guys take this side, and then we just split somewhere else, right? But they decided to waste time, essentially.
That's the bigger demon here, because all right, you've bagged yourself some points, you've crowned yourself kings of Pachinki, you've killed all 4 of them. Let's go with that route. You've done well, but the circle's going to be on your back soon. Do you have these level 2s that are needed to take late game fights? Because I'm seeing, Times POV here doesn't even have a chest. He hasn't even fully reloaded the Scar, so it begs the question, does he even have any more bullets?
Probably not. He has so much time to actually do that, right? It's not even about the level 2 equipment. What about painkillers and energy drinks, right? If you're going to tank the blue in the late game, and that's going to happen, because there's only one team that's going to claim the middle of the circle and stay there. And they're going to battle every other team that want to be that king of the hill. So when you don't have those mets, you're going to have a hard time in the blue.
I think EG have just given it to him. They said, okay, we'll back off from this one. We'll move down. There's a little complex just down the defilade from Pachinki, and that's when they go,
get that, NIPX.
X is
He's
waiting,
going to
though.
be in trouble, and that's the price for splitting up in the beginning of the game, because you don't anticipate that people will be already moving up to you from Pochinki, because why would they, right?
I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but it looks like the battle for America is going down. We see Venerated. He does kill. That's Envy onto Tempo Storm. And you mentioned about Maluk just kind of being off on his own for a little while. He has fallen victim to it.
Yeah, he was pushed by Envious. And the thing is, when you have a advantage over a team, you can just trade. And you don't lose because you just get your body up, right?
So let's just watch the little... You can see the mini-map down. If you look at X's screen, the Call of Gondor has come in. He needs help. You can see his teammate just slowly
don't
crawling.
come for Boromir, bro.
Now, the thing is, though, while an IP are walking to him to give him some support, they do have quite a lot of open ground to go to. And meanwhile, this team, you look at EG, they have the compound. Even Nomi's just watching the angle. Borg might actually get caught off here.
Fantastic positioning, because he can give all the information about movement from his opponents to his teammates. The problem is, wow, he got shot in the head. By X a few times. I'm surprised that he got the angle for that, because Nomi could have just a little bit switched to the right?
I agree. I'm very surprised. Whether or not he thought he was getting hit by Borg and kind of tanked it up. Now, this is where you got to be careful on these stairwell, because as soon as you come up there, you know that you're going to be in the firing line. Direct, point-blank headshot if you come around the corner of these stairs. X should watch this hard, which he does. Body's one. Ghoul will drop. Goes for the second, but the answer back is there. He's going to be careful, his Watch, just to make sure there is no one else in that room. He realised, no, he's not. That's the 1897 to the brain, and see you later, X. NIP once again, early on, lose a member. They smell blood, and they want revenge.
The problem is both teams gotta pay a high price in this duel. EG didn't, put enough pressure on NIP to make a faster decision. They were just waiting out. It looked like a good decision, but I think what happened here is that they got a little bit outplayed by skill here, by aim, right? X knocked out the Nomi, and that was a big thing, because they lost eyes outside of the apartments. They weren't sure if someone else is still in the building.
crunch. Gets a little bit too overzealous. He does hit the deck, though, because someone does have his number and does have his angle. Watts is also just getting his health back. Ashek's going to try and move away from this one and get a new angle on these players. Meanwhile, you were seeing in the kill feed, there have been more Team Envious North American action going on in Georgia, Paul. You can see by the ticker on the left-hand side who's still alive and how many people have got Tempo Stormer. So they've only got one player remaining, so Tempo not having the best of games to start with in game number 2.
Sweater caught his opponent in peripheral vision. The movement was there. I think he got it like last second, so he got the info that his opponents are falling back. That means he can advance and take advantage of the terrain here.
NIP don't have this information though, and that's why they're still watching the buildings so careful. I mean, fair play. You want to watch every single angle of every single building because you will get battered. If someone sees you out the window, they're going to drill you, especially if they've got an automatic weapon. No matter what it is, they'll go for it.
What a nice flank from EG. Look at that. They're taking advantage of those small hills, north side of the complex, and they will have more information than NIP will now have because NIP didn't pressure enough EG when they saw that they are rotating.
That is some amazing trigger discipline. To hold back and just wait until he's actually stood still. He gets the knock. Well, maybe his teammates actually come in with the kill or not. He's going to have the room to actually do this. One of his teammates, and you mentioned over the flank, got his angle on his left-hand side, dinked up Sweater. Sweater's forced back into a situation where he has to go heal.
And he has no helmet. One bullet from that M16 and he's a goner.
This is incredible. To bait a team in like that, into a position where you can just hold the angle and peek them.
So, I said in the beginning that EG was losing that team fight because they didn't take enough of their pressure that was given to them against X. But now they did the same to NIP, and NIP didn't take the opportunity of pressuring their opponents, and now they are kind of like pincered by just 2 players. They have no clue what's happening because they have no idea on the positioning from the players. And look at EG, what they are doing. They have very smart movement. They were taking the north, so the players from NIP still have to look north and just be cautious about that side of the map. But if EG just rotates out and takes another angle, then NIP is in trouble. So they need to take cover.
Ashek only does have a red dot, so he's got no real scopes. I mean, a red dot's always going to do a lot of damage on a 16 regardless when you're so close together because it is only one compound distance, about, what's that, maybe 40, 50 yards if that, so he'll be able to knock a face or 2, but he does need to find the target. 3 versus 2 scenario, level 3 helmet on one of the NIP players, level 2 vest, level 1 helmet, so everyone's got helmets at least. Again, still kind of poor man's gear. Meanwhile, Dignitas, team captain Suntouch, will get a knock with a Kar 98. And that's going to be as they're actually moving. So they've looted through. They've gone from the bottom side to the far side of crates here.
That was 400 meters shot.
That's a belting shot. That's nice. A beautiful shot.
Maybe even more. Well, more like 280 from what I see from the minimap.
Still, to ping someone in the face from there, when they're going to be inside a compound as well, so it's going to be through a window.
So nice when you take a shot like that in a competitive setting, you do own that you take that chance when you have an 8-time scope, when you know that no one is around, so it doesn't matter if you make noise, because Kar 98 is such a loud weapon, and you do that to kind of start the ward of attrition, because at some point the game will be about resources like helmets, or resources like Kevlars, resources like painkillers, first aids, even bandages, because in competitive settings, bandages are actually worth a lot.
Let's just take a look at this map then and just hold it for a second. So we have 2 teams all the way up at the north. They're making their way down past shooting range. In fact, make that a 3rd team now joins the party. They're all going to be coming into North Georgia, Paul. Meanwhile, you will see in crates Dignitas, and then at the top another team awaits them. So this could be an absolute crunch because there's only 2 bridges to get across if you want to make your way into Georgia, Paul. The ideal scenario for these teams, if they're thinking about it really clever, they could just nip down, potentially go back to the blue and come down through Roshawk, which you see Sysco doing. We will hop onto the POV now of Truth just to see exactly what's going on over here, because they are held back now. It's going to be set to destroy. STDX sat inside the garage. They do have 2 players playing the Deflade on them. Are they going to get it back? Yeah, they're going to get out of it, but they need to be careful because they could get nailed.
And look at that, Suntouch got a kill by Eco Explosion. So not only nail at the Kar 98 first, but then switch his weapon and just killed his opponent with a, well, let's say Michael Baseline.
I mean, look at that. They're all coming in vehicles, and this is what happens when the rotations come in. It's time to move. They might actually see a fair few players here. We could see a crunch just on the bottom. All the vehicles could take a lot of damage. He actually gets belted through the window. Will he stay alive, though? He's trying to get out of dodge.
But his car's going to get blown up. Oh, my.
It's gone. So that's two of them. Two vehicles gone down while rotating. Meanwhile, another player drops on screen. You can see that. Just a walking wounded. Spadge is just trying to stay alive and get information and read it for his team. He's giving it out. Mini and a 4 times in hand. Catches one. I think he actually connected with him as well. So he's dinked him up on the mountainside. And they've got to be aware of who comes from behind them. Is there anybody else left? That's the information you're asking yourself. You can see the bullets flying off the rocks. They know they're there. For me, personally, don't even bother. Let them have the high ground. Let them do what they need to do. Just wander away, reposition. There's no point in taking uphill battles, right? Which is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to reposition, regroup. I like this play from Dig.
Especially since that mountain is actually not that good.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, exactly. When you think about it, you open to all the sides of the map. Well, at least like 3/4. Because always you will be open from somewhere. And if you're going to be open to somewhere, and even a 2-time scope will be enough to actually take some shots at you. So those information will be given to your opponents. Everyone will know that you're at the top of the mountain, and you'll have a really hard time to actually doing something there.
Do you know what's really funny? I've just looked at NIP. I think once again they're going to meet EG. We've still got a battle going down in Gatka, but look at where NIP have just pulled up. They're just at the bottom of ruins. They actually might once again run into EG.
Wow. So they had the same idea how to rotate in the end.
They've literally done it exactly the same. But it looks like, look at where the arrows are pointing. I genuinely think
they saw them. I mean,
EG
they
have read
hear
this.
the car. They hear the car. If that's a buggy, it doesn't look like a buggy. More like a Dacia, I think.
But even we can hear it. Like, we've just gone on this POV. We can hear it from there. So they're going to be able to hear it. Ashek knows what's going on. He has to have seen this.
And they have the better positioning. They know that their opponents, if they want to move up to the circle, they only have one place to hide. And that is directly north of the complex, of the yellow building. So either they're going to approach the yellow buildings, or they're just going to take that north position. Either way, they're going to end up in EG mouth. But look at that. EG is actually falling back.
This helped them out last time. They managed to get ahead of the game and ahead of the curve.
That's the thing that I learned when talking to pro players. When we speak about the competitive setting. They always talk about not taking the fights, especially early game. Look at the count of the players. 60 alive, right? And it's already like 15 minutes into the game or something like that. So until 2 more circles, there will be still a lot of people alive. And let's switch to the POV on the mountain, because 2 teams just have a team fight right now. Whoa.
One player just absolutely burning through them. Boom steps up with the M4. Tap, tap, tap. Sends one player flying. There are still more on the hill. You can hear that car. The UAS just rolls off. They're probably going to approach this. They're walking wounded all over the place. This is pretty much game, set, and match. If he catches him off guard, he doesn't look in time. And all of a sudden, we just see 1, 2, 3 bodies hit the floor. GG.
And that's GG for Blank. They got eliminated pretty early on. If I remember correctly, they took the 5th place in the previous game. So not
Noble
that
doing
bad,
work.
but they would like to be higher up in the second game, of course.
Kind of just going back to what you mentioned about how many people are alive and how many people you're going to be meeting in this circle. This is why it's so important to make sure you have a good loot session. Because if you don't have the level 2 helmet, minimum, if you don't have the level 2 chest, if you don't have the meds and stims to kind of get through that, you approach these fights and you will just get completely trolled, to be honest with you. There's no nicer way of putting it. 250% when you get hit in the head. 100% if you get hit in the chest. When we're looking at from that point of view, even from the level 2s, it's only a 40% deficit. That's a long shot.
Nice shots. So, one thing I have to say, we obviously know that PUBG competitive scene right now has problems with FPS. I mean, not with first-person shooting, with literally frames per second. Because when you have 25 players in your vision and 10 vehicles, you have like 20 FPS. But as soon as that changes, people will have hard time driving vehicles. And that is because people will be more likely to be more consistent with their shots at people driving vehicles. So the meta might change actually in the future.
We'll see. And of course you can now, on the test server at least, med inside the vehicle. So we'll see what that does to the whole grand scheme of things. Bullets come across the map. Nobody's going to be found. Yeah. Whole team here, just chilling inside the building. They're on the edge of the circle, so they're in, so they can wait and see if anybody wants to approach them. They do have the very, very edge as well. They have a very slow side. They'll see a vehicle going by.
Shooting at a bike from that distance is not an easy task at all.
Hey, if you've got 4 players and you've got ammunition, then why not? He's getting left behind, though. He needs to jump out. Come on, son. You can get with your teammates. Join them. They all just bailed and left him, or do they have 4 vehicles? No, they've actually got 4 vehicles, so they got cover. If they need to move, they can just walk with their own human battering ram, so to speak, and their own human wall. They can just line these vehicles up and create themselves some sort of compound if they need to. Here comes the crunchy circle, though.
It's important that they park the vehicles inside the buildings because they save the let's say HP points of those vehicles. That will be important in the next circle when they're gonna try to build that, let's say, fort out of those cars, and they need to have as much HP as possible in the next circle. So saving them right now and the tires of them is crucial to their strategy.
It looks like C9, unfortunately, is just caught between a rock and a hard place. 2 teams are firing in, and they're just smack bang in the center. We will see solid fall, but I think, Chappy fall, but they'll be able to get him back up at least because they do have plenty of time, and they do have the building cover, of course. Bigger picture, though, let's take a look at the circle. Apex do have 4 players, Quick Math 2, Cloud9 still have all 4, STDX, Team Dig as well, Dig there, WLG, and Space Station. So a lot of teams still with 4 players. 1-2 teams have been eliminated so early on. We see at the top Noble, Kings of the Mountain, but maybe not for much longer as Dignitas are creeping upon them. Hop across the Times POV, long-range bullets. Again, it's hard to cop a vehicle that long, but you never know how heavily damaged they've been trying to run the gauntlet. Looks like that team opposing has just pulled upon C9, so it'll be interesting to see if C9 makes something happen with this. Solid gets the information. 1 player's already falling. I see down in the kill feed there.
We have some Mexican standoff here right now.
No one knows where to go because there really isn't that much cover apart from a UAZ, a Defolator, and a rock. Where really you don't want to reveal your head. They know there's plenty of people. He'll move the UAZ to give himself some sort of more utility and position here. Put it down the Defolator. I have seen teams win from around this area just using these rocks and using this cover to their advantage. The rest of his team, they're split. C9 split they have. So C9 is split between the cornfields, and that's because Envious are creeping up behind them.
Wow. And the mountain again is going to be a witness to the bloodshed, I would say.
Godspeed. And a few people up.
For?
So they need to be. It's this one where whether or not Dignitas just take this fight with Noble. I think Dignitas have lost a fair few players, though, to be honest with you. Could this be a 2-on-3?
I'm not sure, but I think it's actually just Boom and Godspeed.
Oh, no, it's actually going to be potentially a 4-on-3 here scenario. Oh, excuse me. So there is... Yep, so it's a 3-on-4. So we got 3 players of Noble still remaining. 4 players of Dignitas. None of them really need to move because they still are inside the circle. It's a matter of who's going to throw the first grenade. I mean, look at that gear from Spadge. Level 3'd out of his mind. And
that helmet is actually the most important crucial item in the entire inventory in the game.
So strong.
I think it's a little bit too strong, though.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too strong because it takes the importance of sniper rifles from the game. But look at this.
Wow.
Holy moly, Noble. If they win the fight, that will be rewarded for the early game decision to just go there to that mountain. But as I said, I don't like it because you can still be shot from every single angle apart from the other side of the mountain.
Kings of the Mountain. Let's see who it's going to be. A few people have mentioned over the level 3 helmet saying it should be only be in crates only. Just grabbing it from crates would be an extremely good reward. You can still find level 3 chests on the map, but put it in the crate and then it becomes an extra reward. Noble, they opt to take some shots. That's going to be at EG. The EG and NIP battle's still going on. NIP hot on the heels.
I think it's an accidental thing as well.
This is literally accidental. They're actually going to come across this Defolator just across the verge, and they will see them in the tree line, I believe, if they're looking the right way anywhere. As we saw on the map as well, there is a team that is further up from them. So we could see a 3-way battle here, just at the bottom of Everest.
So one thing that I wanted to point out at the mountain, Noble did take few shots at some other team, and that pushed the other team from the mountain just away from them. They didn't want to take the fight. They didn't want to lose their position right now. They just said, okay, screw it. We're going to just take a Defolator somewhere on the mountain, just be quiet for a while, and wait for the next circle. Because this is the crunch circle, right? Where people are going to die soon. In a few next minutes, you're going to see from 38 people, we're going to see like maybe 24 alive.
Yeah, keep an eye on that kill feed, guys, because it will kick off, and we won't be able to catch all the action. But the kill feed will, and it'll describe what's going on. But take a look at this. Here come the rotation. Then everyone making their way up through Gakko. We've still got a few people down in Pachinki that are going to be going wide as well. In comes the bike. One hops off. Hits the F key. And now they have some compounds. We've got a team directly in front of them, which they have the information. But they do have the Defiler to at least peek back. So he will get tagged up heavily. Is that EG still creeping on the bottom, though, in the distant? No, it's not. It's a different team. So everyone just making their way around the mountain. I mean, when you look at this, who has the strongest? If you just go back to that map for a second, who has the strongest point right now in the game, do you think?
I think Spash with his team has like the strongest position right now because they have the north side of the entire circle. So Team Dignitas,
And they have 4 up as well.
Yeah, if they manage to just hold this angle from both sides of the mountain, they will have fantastic position to win the game. Oh
God, and look at this. The crunch comes through, the bodies are hitting the floor, the lawnmowers are in. Just smashing everyone down. You said this was going to happen. Just keep an eye on the kill feed. Defcon comes in. Takes 2. That's a double for him. You can see the walking wounded on screen. All the people are dropping. VZ's going to knock out Solid as well. Chappie answers back onto VZ with a headshot. The AKM does its job, so a knockout for a knockout there. When else comes in? That's going to be a headshot from the M16. Max will die from that, so he must have been a lonely solo. Silky Meat is also fallen. He will fall from Truth and Shaco as well. The M16 picks up the double. Undercover Pie kills Phil. Also, the 16 is such a dirty weapon in this game.
Oh yeah, this is why they got changed in the test set, right? But one thing I wanted to really point out, one member of Tempo Storm, who is still alive, Valiate, is now, let's say, the unique person on the map. He needs a different strategy than anyone else. He needs to be in the blue if he has enough meds, just tank it up, wait for other teams to rotate, heal up, and then go into the circle, just, you know, be quiet and wait out for the best possible position for his team, to get the best possible placement for his team.
Now, I could be wrong, but I think what Crunch did there, if he did it on purpose, was very, very clever. He kind of committed suicide by showing his face to draw the fire of the player across. I could be wrong here, but I think he drew the fire of the player across the road. So these two here could actually get the health back and at least potentially try and do some work. We do see one player knocked. Sweater will be trying to get Borg up, which he does.
And that's still EG versus an IP, man. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. The storyline of this duel from the beginning of the game, it's nuts. This is why I love PUBG. It sets up a story of an entire map. It's like those two teams have a battle. But look at that. Dignitas fighting against Reaper of Points got knocked out. And that Reaper of Points is... Why do I not have him?
I actually might have him on this list. You might be able to find him. We did see him earlier on. They did a lot of damage in the opposing game as well. In fact, no, I tell a lie, he didn't. He actually got knocked out quite early on. So, Typhon heading up the hill. Dignitas, they are on the hunt. They smell blood. More people are coming around the back of them, so they need to be careful. They've already eliminated one team to secure themselves this position. Can they carry it through? EG looks like they have now been knocked out. 2 players of Envious remain. Cloud9 still have 3 up. NIP 2. Noble have 3. So Noble have rotated away from this entire fight. Did we see Tempo Stormfall? Yes, we did. So the solo player unfortunately lost his life.
Could have been the circle. Who knows?
NIP now down to 1 young player. Last man standing for Nip. Can he get himself up the board again like previous times? It was Sweater who managed to do some work and grab themselves some decent points. We'll see what happens as this game does progress.
So that's quick math, taking those people on the just tip of the mountain. This is the problem with the mountain that we're speaking about, right? There's no cover. If you're moving up and you're gonna be caught in crossfire, you're dead.
It's just a battle of who's got like the better rock coverage, so to speak. As you can see there, he just runs across, gets absolutely nailed, hits the pan a few times. Boom's in a one-on-one scenario though, up top mid. We need to see exactly what goes on with that one. Brooksy, looks like Boom actually gets answer back, spins around, hits him with the M16. He will drop as well, and now he wants more. There are a couple more players here if he wants to take full control. Brooksy on the opposing side, using the first aid. Godspeed coming in. Level 2 helmet, level 2 chest, full health, catches one, drills him with the AKM, there's the body, hits the floor, he's dead.
I'm a fan of the AK players, you know. Before the nerf, that was my favorite weapon, so I'm still kind of like ecstatic to hear the sound of the AK because it's so unique. It's so satisfying to shoot with the weapon. But it's kind of messy.
Oh, Godspeed has been caught off guard.
He's taking that zigzag seriously. Look at that.
Wiggling left and right, he will be able to get himself in the gap. Pop a stim if he already hasn't done, running around with one. You'll see Dignitas, though. They went down. So they rotated a little bit round, but went down, hid behind the rocks, let everyone else take these gunfights, take these battles. Oh, you know what? We'll let them fight out, and we'll be rewarded with placement because they need it. They are on 0 points coming into this, which is awful. But now this is a night and day scenario, but it looks like one team has read them. But this one team,
Quick
3
math.
players all together in a corner.
That's quick math, and they're gonna creep up on Dignitas. They're gonna hear the steps. This is pretty close.
God, they haven't seen him.
So they need to be quiet right now. Take the advantage of the fact that Dignitas will be just going up, and then backstab them. Literally.
There's also a bad point because of how close they are. Imagine if one grenade hit them now. That's the entire team gone.
Who's gonna throw grenades on a mountain, right? You can get a huge drawback from that because it can just bounce back to you.
There is there is the thing, but look at them, they're all together, and now they have to reveal themselves. They've seen Dignitas. They're going for the spray down, but it's giving away their position. Dig do lose 2. Can the rest of Dig answer back? Who's alive? It's going to be Liquids to try and seal the deal on this one. Reaper of Points comes in. He wants some more points himself. Liquids at the bottom. He's getting drilled from up high. He's managing to stay alive, but the bullet will find the target. Nookie seals the deal. Dig are off. They are gone. 9 players remain. And again, this hill, it's been brutal. She's been awful. The mountain has done some nasty things. 4 players remain, though, for this entire team. It looks like it's going to be a 4 versus 2. 2 players remain on Envious. It is. It's a 4 versus 2 versus 2. And the 4, well, they've got the hill.
Well, set to destroy X, have the king. I mean, they are the king of the hill right now. So if they gonna take the advantage of their positioning, high ground. I mean, it's like in Star Wars, right? They have the high ground. They need to win.
It's over.
But who's the Luke Skywalker?
I have the high ground. Oh.
Who's gonna peek first?
2 times.
Look at. Ooh.
What?
What happened here?
K98, bullet to the brain. Caden pings him at distance.
And he loses the helmet, or maybe he didn't even have it in the first place. Who knows?
That's nasty. That is nasty shot from Caden. They need more stuff like that. But the thing is, usually if you down a player, it's okay. We've got a player down. So let's move forward now. Let's push this advantage. But where can they really push from? If they push up this, they're just going to get murdered if they show the face.
Well, they're going to get murdered anyway because the circle is going to get, it's going to creep on them. So they need to move fast. Even if they take that knock, they need to pressure as soon as possible. That's their only chance.
So the little dream that might actually happen here for Envious is if the other team that's approaching that's just been spotted, these guys could flank on STDX now. If they flank and knock some people, Envious will hear this and know, okay, it's time to go.
Let's see what's going to happen because Reaper of Points is creeping up on STD right now. And he's taking the shots from the M4, but he's not fast enough. Dies in the process. Caden is still alive and taking shots. Killed Nuki right now. So it is 3 versus 1.
They're going for the run. They've got to do it. They know this is their only chance, so they're going and they're out in the open. Here comes Envious. This is their time to shine. This is the push that they needed. But, as we mentioned, as soon as they caress that hill, Truth will see this and he'll be able to lay down fire. He's holding back for a second. Caden peeks up again. He gets pushed back. He gets hit with a bullet. But look at how many people are so weak. They're off just using the first aids. He does have this K98. He's found a face before. Can he find it again? Scopes in, hits one!
What a hit!
Finds the target, hits the mark, goes for a second. Will he find it again? And this is what he needs to do. He just needs to keep finding these targets, and his teammate needs to land the kills.
Look at those starting to panic. Banks. That's amazing.
Knocked out from Fallins. That's going to be the grenade which pushed him back. And now this is, unfortunately, might be the nail in the coffin for Envious. The grenade did its job. Kobe comes down. There's the answer. The M4 gets drilled, and away you go. Naldo, Truce, Painkiller, and Matty Yu. That's going to be 11 kills in the bag. So that's a lot. That's big, big points there. That's kind of money points, plus the 200 they've got from being number 1. That's good. That's really good. But kid and stats, that's disgusting as well.
I have to say, I'm super impressed with both Envious and with STDX. Kind of unfortunate name, by the way. But I have to say, when I was talking about the map positioning, the awareness, and so on, that is like the most crucial aspect. But when it comes to the final game, the final match, it's all about aim as well. And you can see Caden almost rescuing his team and winning the map alone, right? Yeah. Imagine if he would be actually on top of the mountain instead of the down side, right? He could have just pressured his opponents because of the headshot that he hit twice, actually.
Yeah, well, twice in a row, pretty much, wasn't it? I mean, Caden
was crazy.
Man of the hour, unfortunately. doesn't get the win. But with 2 players, just 2 players, they managed to get second place. And again, a lot of points that come from those kills. You're in the double-digit figures now. So what's that in total? It's going to be like well over. I mean, it's going to bump them up regardless. But the team at the top just with 200 points again, bagging that, and then all the rest of the kills on top. So big money points on the board in game number 2. What an incredible round. The Hill, though, she can be brutal.
Yep. I mean, for me, the takeout out of this game is the storyline between EG and NIP, although they didn't end up on the top of the bracket right now, but it was fantastic to see like the movement from beginning of the game. School, apartments, the complex north of Pochinki, right? And then we have this entire like movement from that position to ruins, through the open fields north of Gatka, and it finished right next to the mountain. So the final circle, right? So that was fantastic just to watch, because that's something that is unique to PUBG, I think, and Battle Royale games in general, right?
We'll keep discussing game number 2. We do have some replays in the back, so we'll just let them run through, and you guys can see some of the highlights that went down. But yeah, overall, really good circle, and you kind of mentioned at the right time, around the 60 mark, when we got into that crunch time, everyone just started to drop left and right, which is rather unfortunate. But a lot of people kind of rotating around the hill, playing off the back. It was nice to see Dig kind of survive for so long at least, and be able to go down, decide, okay, we can't win this battle, or at least there's no point in even teching it, even if we can win it regardless. They backed off for a little bit, let the game extend and kind of unfold, and they watched all this happen. But, as you say, keeping 4 alive and just keeping together, and then not necessarily arriving late game, but kind of after the action's mainly gone down and everyone start to drop down. You know, at the end, SCDX said, okay, well, we'll crawl up a little bit later, we'll let everyone kind of drop off a little bit, we'll then take position. It was the grenade that did the damage. The grenade just smashing Caden, and then, yeah, I know.
Did you see the flashbang?
Everything.
I think that was actually the first time I saw it on a broadcast, that a flashbang worked in an open field. It wasn't, it wasn't a building. You couldn't just smash it through a window and take someone by surprise, right? They used the high ground to have a higher range of the grenade because of the, high ground, basically, right? So in this case, that flash was insanely powerful because it basically killed an opponent.
Pretty much took them out from it. I think we still got some more replays in the back, I do believe, so we'll just keep kind of flying through them while we discuss how the last one. But it was certain pivotal moments like this where one player just kind of steps up to the plate and says, all right, it's go time. And we saw Boom do this. Unfortunately, didn't make it to the top 2, but did get stuck in and bagged a fair few kills for his team. Saw one, spins around on a pinhead and just absolutely drills in with the N4. And it was certain points like that when you're going in there where you think, okay, I can get this team. I can finish this off. We can get all the kills. And when you do that, you're not only getting the position, bumping yourself up by 1. You know that if an entire team falls around you, in your mind, you have 100% just jumped another, another position on the table. But you've also bagged 4 sets of points as well for killing them.
Yeah, it's quite important. Like, leaving a 1 man alive is practically doing nothing. Right? I mean, it's a little bit of points for the kills, right? But if you eliminate an entire team, that, as you said, you bump an entire position minimum.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's a really huge commitment to your team statement. Sorry, to your team.
Especially if you know you need it. If you've kind of got some idea if you get some sort of information of who you're fighting as well. If you have some idea that it is a certain team, you knock one, you see it in the kill feed. If it's like you're chasing a team like C9 and you know that they're just one in front of you, and then you knock one, it's like, okay, if we kill now C9, we'll overtake them, we eliminate them. So there's a lot of mind and trickery going on. And again, this is kind of, as Lothar mentioned, there's a bigger picture to PUBG. There's a lot of intricate stuff that players there's a lot of thinking going on up there. But for now, we're going to let you guys take a very short break. Go get yourself a coffee, and we'll let the players do the same. We are going to switch over casters, get the server rebooted, and move into round number 3. Tweet the stream, let everyone know what's going on. This, of course, is the GLL Last Chance Qualifier. We need 4 teams to take across to tomorrow's Best of 7 Grand Final. Don't go anywhere, guys. See you in a second.